All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy November, September 12th. Hope you guys are alive and well. Hopefully, you guys are feeling good. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in our world, and no matter which side you guys are on, I don't really care. What I care about is humanity at the highest level. So I don't think that we need the reminder, but I'm going to say it anyways. Just be kind to your brothers and sisters, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter their socioeconomic background, no matter what their belief systems are, religious systems and beliefs, and whatever side they are on politically. I don't really care. All I care about is that we are nice to our brothers and sisters, that we are finding that it is okay to be different. I don't care. We probably all have different belief systems, but it's all right. At the end of the day, love your brothers and sisters. Tell somebody hello today. Give somebody a hug because listen, you guys, it's a really, really trying time. It's an unfortunate circumstance. The things that we're going through in our nation, what happened with Charlie Kirk, what happened at the Colorado school, it's just a really unfortunate time. And then we're just, we're on the anniversary of 24 years of 9/11. And so you guys, it's a time where we just need to lean into kindness. So my message to each of you is just be nice, accept people's differences. If you want to have a conversation, have a conversation. If you cannot politely have a conversation about your differences, then you probably shouldn't have that conversation. And so that's my thoughts. That's my sentiment. I know it's a really tough time, what we're in right now, but I don't want to even go into it any further. I'm just sending a message of kindness out to each of you guys. Respect everybody's differences. I'm going to go to somebody and have them bring us out on the field. And I don't think I've ever done this with this person, but I have a guest here today. Michelle, this person is going to be you. Michelle, yeah, NBA Realtor, coming to us live and direct from the East Coast. I'm going to have you bring us out on the field. You've been here enough times to know what this is like. So I'm going to have you bring us out on the field on this beautiful Friday morning. And yes, Michael Swanson, that is the best of Mac Dre, Volume 1, Part 1. So yes, Michael. All right, Michelle, what do you got for us? And you got to take yourself off of mute. Hit him with it. Hit him right in the gut.
All right. Well, good day, everyone. It is your favorite NBA realtor here. I am checking in all the way from New Jersey. I am in the tri-state area of New York and New Jersey, and this market over here has been, how can I say, ups and downs. We are still in the seller's market here, though. Multiple homes, or multiple offers are still being put on one home, especially if it's priced right. So I've been seeing that the days on the market have been ranging anywhere from 15 to 30 days on the market, depending on, New York or New Jersey. I'm still seeing that homes are going above asking price. How can I say? It all depends, between New York and New Jersey as far as how much is going over asking. But like some of my listings that I've seen recently, I've gotten offers 20K over asking all the way up to 40K over asking. So the market has been increasing for sure. I am really, really pumped, I will say, for 2026 and what is going to happen. I actually just capped, which is pretty phenomenal. I'm excited about that for
Let's
capping.
go.
And I am on the road to Icon, y'all. You're looking at an Icon agent coming soon. So
That's
thank
right.
you.
That's right. Well,
Thank you.
congratulations on everything that you're doing. Congratulations on life, on business, and everything in between. It's really, really cool to see. So thank you for bringing us out of the field on this amazing Friday morning. So you guys, we're going to kick this thing off, but I do want to say today will be an abbreviated session because I was asked to speak at EXPCon. You have to deliver a message on EXP University, and so I have to do that today. So I'm going to stop the session a little bit early today just to make sure that I can go and do that commitment as well. It's the only time they had available. So unfortunately, I just have to cut this a little bit short today. However, we're going to go full tilt and I'm going to make sure that you guys get something out of this. Also, I have a worksheet for you guys to be able to take with you and then do the work from now until next Friday. So do I have permission from everybody? Is it okay if we do an abbreviated session today? Because if I have to be late for EXP, and I will, okay? If the master said no now,
Rapid fire. Let's go, Elias.
Go,
okay.
Elias.
Okay, all right, you guys. So first things first, I wanted to share with you guys what my conversation is centered around, and I mentioned it briefly yesterday as Vernon was closing out the conversion clinic. The number one skill in sales isn't talking, it's adapting. You see, we all come from different backgrounds. We were raised differently. Each of us have our different behavioral styles. Each of us communicate differently. We use different words, different cadences, different flow, different punctuation, different tonality. And so believe in everything that we do, it's our ability to adapt. You see, I've grown over the years. I've grown over the years because I've read so much. I've studied human behavior. I've studied speech patterns and communication at the highest level. And so what I've understood about myself is that you could drop me off in the hood and I could do really good and I could connect. You could put me next to billionaires and I could connect. And you could put me in front of everybody in between and I could connect. And so there was a time in my life where I felt very, very like nervous. There were certain situations, certain people, certain demographics, people that had more money, that came from different backgrounds from me that I felt super, super nervous around. And then I grew and I adapted and I learned how to communicate in different styles, in different ways, and use my words in completely different fashions. And so, what I want to talk about today is I just want to talk about that. How many people are aware of their own disc profile? It's DISC. How many people have done their own disc profile? All right, cool. If you have not done your disc profile, I'm going to hook you guys up. I want you guys to go here and I'll just drop the link in the chat down below, but I've already curated this entire message. So I want you to go to tonyrobbins.com. I'm going to put the link down here in the chat. This will give you an ability to do your own personal disc profile test. Now you're going to do the work. It takes a little bit of time. So don't just rush through it. Don't just answer the questions because you want to answer the questions. Like actually spend some time and do the work. Because what you're going to find is you're going to find out how you truly, truly communicate. There is definitely some dominant, meaning that you're going to lean towards one profile versus the other. For me, I am a very high I, but I'm also a D, so I'm an ID. What that means is that I have a lot of enthusiasm, have a lot of energy. Based on the profile, they say I'm inspiring, so on and so forth. But I have a dominance in me, meaning that I'm straight to the point. I'm very competitive. I'm results driven. I'm decisive. And so you'll find out who you are by doing this. Now, evaluate this report, look at the report, understand how you communicate at the highest level. And then it will tell you, well, how do I best communicate with other people? And also, what are the most challenging conversations that I'm in? There's also another personality test out there. It's called Crystal Nose. And I'm going to copy this and I'll put this in the chat down below as well. Crystal Nose is another one. So I'm going to put this here. What I want to encourage you guys to do is these are both free. So go and do these profile tests to get a better understanding of how you communicate and how you best receive information. So what I did is I put together a quick presentation just to give this a little bit of context. But before we get there, before we even get into the conversation, for somebody that has done profile work on themselves, personality profiles on themselves, who can tell me a quick snapshot of who you are and how you best communicate based on any profile testing that you've done in the past? Does anybody want to share an example of their own profile, disc profile, personality test that they've done in the past if you have done this work? Does anybody have one that they'd like to share? I'm going to go once. I'm high. I'm a high I. Okay, sorry. I thought you wrote I'm high. Okay, I'm not judging you. Okay, listen, it's all good. I'm going to go to Evangeline. Evangeline, share with us what you got on this beautiful Friday morning. Let's roll.
Sorry, I had to find the unmute button there. I've done the Myers-Briggs personality test, and that one I got like the executive on, so I'm like ESTJ, so that's extroverted, sensing, thinking, and judging. I forgot like what other charts there are, but I thought it was really helpful. They do say that when you take these tests to be very thoughtful, and like they do change, of course, as you grow, but I've done it in college. I've done it recently and I still get it. So I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay, cool, cool. Now, knowing yourself when you communicate, when you think about personality profiles, whether it's a dominant person, somebody that is very, very expressive, it's somebody that's more amiable, and we'll get into all of this in a moment, versus somebody that is super analytical, like your engineers, your architects, the accountants. Who do you have the biggest challenge with communicating?
um, I forgot what their like profile is there, but yeah, I probably have the most challenge with people who are like a little bit more closed off because I'm trying to find different ways to crack them. And I actually want to do like a training session on this. Like I forgot how they had that like quadrant of like psychology. I think that was even a Tom Ferry thing too. But yeah, I have a problem with people who are a little bit more closed off, because I'll hit different avenues of like where I can try to figure out to connect. But if someone sees you as a salesperson, even though you're asking questions that pivot back on them, if they're still hell bent on seeing you as a salesperson, they're going to have that wall up. So that's what I'll find some challenges with.
Okay. All right. So I hear you. I'm going to give you a quick example just so because there's no better example if you guys are in our environment than this. What type of communication do you think Kenny receives the best? How do you think you should speak to Kenny? Go, somebody take themselves off of mute. He's the founder of our company. He's the visionary.
Sign language.
Database.
What was that second person? Who was that second person?
Database.
Direct.
That was me.
Who was that?
Alex.
Alex. All right, Alex, you keep on going in and out. Just keep yourself off of mute. So say that one more time, Alex.
Data-based.
Data-based?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring him facts, give him statistics, give him information.
Okay. Anybody else want to give a synopsis of how Kenny best receives information? Where would he be? Ashley, you took yourself off of mute.
Direct, no feeling, like Alex said, facts only, to the point, and short.
Correct. If you get on a call with Kenny and you say, "How are you?" almost something in his mind is frustrated. Like, why are you asking me how I am? It's just like, literally, I've learned in 7 years of working with Kenny. Kenny, hi, we're doing this. Wonderful. What time? This time. Okay. Have a great day. I love you. Like, I throw that in there, literally just to mess with them. And so what I want you guys to be conscious about, and I'm going to break this down for you in a second, that way you can start to see it. What I want you guys to do over the course of the next week is I want you to start spotting some patterns in the way that people communicate. What we need to be is we need to be really conscious about the way people are using their words, and then we need to adapt our own words to make sure that we are better connecting with them. Oftentimes we run our route, we run our sequence, we run our patterns, we do our presentation, but I think we need to get back. We need to get really, really back to the roots of how people communicate, the words they say, their speech patterns, and we need to identify that. As soon as I start working with somebody, I'm evaluating by basing my evaluation off their speech patterns, and then I'm putting that into my CRM. Now, every single time that I speak to that person, this person's a high I, this person's a high S, and S needs compliance. They need you to share everything. They need to understand. They need to feel. A C needs to analyze. They need to break things down. They need to see the numbers. They need to see the comps. They need to know what goes into your strategy. And I is like a lot of us. We like how things feel. We talk a lot. We have expression. We use our hands. D, straight to the point, facts, no fluff in between. So I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. That way you guys can see this. So take some pictures of this. We'll come back to this. This is going to be something that we're going to come full circle on in 1 week. And I'll drop a worksheet for you in just a moment. But spotting patterns. So the driver is fast. They are direct. And they are bottom line type of talkers. If you've ever spent any time on the East Coast, if you've ever spent any time with your homies up in New York, I promise you, a lot of our East Coast folks are the drivers. Bottom line, they're the ones that just want to tell you how it is. Michelle, is that safe to say, being my East Coast homie on the call? Give me a thumbs up if that's safe to say.
Absolutely. We keep it real.
That's right. That's right. No fluff. Just tell you how it is. Analytical. These are the detail seekers. They are slow to decide. So when we understand that we're working with somebody that is very, very analytical, we need to slow down. We need to explain the data. We need to make sure that we have all the data prepared, that we could speak to the data. They don't care about all the things and how you feel about this. And oh my God, like, how does that make you feel? They don't care about that. They base their feelings off of the data. Right? They're in their head and they're computing, right? And so if we can help them with the computing, that's how you're going to form a bond, right? And if, well, I don't do good with numbers. Well, you better get good with numbers because you're never going to know who's in front of you. So get very, very clear on how you represent the numbers, how you share the numbers, how you articulate the numbers, and how you illustrate the numbers when you're in a presentation, particularly with an analytical type of person. The amiable. The amiable is relationship first. They don't want conflict. They want you to connect with them. They want you to understand their needs, their cares, their fears. They want you to slow down your speech. They want you to connect with them on a deeper level. That's who the amiable is. Hence why my tone just changed. Amiable people want relationships. A lot of us do very, very well with these people because we truly want to connect. Expressive. These are the big dreamers. These are the emotional energy. I'm going to pause for a second. Let's do this. Who on this call today do you believe to be amiable and or expressive? Put some names in the chat down below. Let's go to the first one. Who's an amiable on the line? Somebody that is relationship first. They avoid conflict. They truly want to connect. They're very, very sincere. They're empathetic. Is there somebody on the screen that you guys can look around and be like, ooh, I know that that person's more amiable? Put it in the chat if you have somebody. Also, who's the person on the screen right now that is expressive? A big dreamer, emotional energy. Who are those people? Put that down in the chat. Don't be shy, you guys. Throw something down in the chat down below. I want to see your guys' responses. Because if you've heard the people talk on these calls, you know who they are. You know who they are. Let's see what we got. All right. So I don't have anything in the chat. You guys not going to hook me up here? Someone take themselves off of mute. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Gary is which one, Lisa? You're on mute.
Expressive. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Christopher said me, expressive. Yeah, 100%. Keep them coming, you guys. Let's get a couple more in the chat. I speak with my hands. Christina, I would definitely say that you are the expressive. Let's get two more in the chat. What else you guys got? Let's hear it. Get involved in the chat. I want to see your guys' responses.
I would say without a doubt, I'm absolutely expressive, but I feel like I'm kind of a cross between expressive and amiable, you said? Because
Amiable.
I feel, yeah, amiable, whatever you said. So I think I'm kind of a cross between both, but if somebody was to pin me out, I think expressive would absolutely be where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Carmen, but there's also that dog in you. I've seen that driver in you too.
Oh,
All right, Swanson, expressive. Kelly is amiable. Okay, cool. I'm glad that you guys can spot some of this. So here's the teaching mantra is that we match the pace and we match the tone and we speak their language. Now, I'm not saying be anything different than who you are as a person. What I'm telling you and what I'm encouraging you to do is just adapt. Just adapt. If I'm on a coaching call with somebody and I know that they're a little bit more, fearful, they're a little bit more guarded, then I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to ask really, really, heartfelt questions, and I'm going to listen to everything that this person needs to say. If I'm working with one of my clients on the East Coast, hey, listen, you guys are dropping the ball, get it done. Can you get this done by today? Perfect. It is like short, sweet, to the point. And so you guys have to be able to evaluate this. And so the thought of this conversation is that as you guys go into your next series of appointments, as you guys are communicating at a high level, I want you to start profiling your people and then challenge yourself to say, how can I best adapt to this person's style of receiving information? It is similar to the 5 love languages. It is similar to that because what you're doing is you're saying, how does this person receive information, receive love? And it's the same thing. I'm going to adapt to that, not based on how I want to receive love, because it might be different. How does that person receive? And so I'm going to adapt, not changing the human that I am. I'm going to adapt to that person. Does that make sense, everybody? Give me a thumbs up, give me a high five, give me a yes, give me a nod. All right, cool. So let's go a little bit further in this conversation because I want to make sure to bring this all home before we have to break early today. You might want to take a picture of this. This comes directly from the Social Styles Handbook. The Social Styles Handbook is one of the best books for you guys to read to be able to really understand the different types of personalities, behaviors, so on and so forth. You have the Analytical, who needs to be right, prefers to think. You all have dealt with an engineer before, and that's that person. But some of their weaknesses is that they can be very, very critical. They can be critical about the data. They can be critical about the industry, about the market. They feel like they're right. They're very, very critical people. And I'll be honest with you, when you're dealing with consumers, one of the hardest personalities to deal with is your analytical type because they are so critical. They're waiting, they're looking for gaps in the information that you were giving to see where they can push you back and where they can feel like they are right. Keep to specific issues, be more formal, serious, and listen, have a strong agenda and structure, and speak slow. If you know that you're going on a listing presentation or a buyer consultation with an analytical type, you better be prepared. When you are going over our stats, when you're going over your offer prep, what goes into that, we need to be very, very detailed about what goes into that conversation so they can retain that information. The driver needs results, prefers action, and the weakness is they don't want to listen. They just want the facts. Don't waste time. Just get to the point, talk work and task, be prepared with decision and recommendation before meeting, right? The last thing a driver wants to do is to listen all of the emotional things that you're trying to talk about. Get to the point, give them the facts, and then move on. Amiable, they need to feel safe. They prefer relationships, and their weakness is taking action. Sometimes they're fearful of taking action because they just don't know if it's the right move. And so that's when advocacy comes into place. That's when I understand that you have some fears about moving forward, Chris. While we're in this process, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to answer the questions, I'm going to walk you through escrow. We're going to have a transaction coordinator. That's the liaison of communication. That is the person that's going to walk us through to make sure that you feel secure and safe from now until the end of our close of escrow. They need to feel safe before they can truly take action. Smile, be relaxed, show interest in them as a person, be prepared to lead the discussion, give suggestions, and avoid statements summarized frequently. Give suggestions. Oftentimes, an amiable person will think like this: what should we do? What should we do, Cortez? What should we do, Chris? You are guiding them. You are sharing with them. You're telling them what exactly is going to happen. They need reassurance. Expressive. This person needs approval. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. This person it prefers spontaneity. They like variety. When you think about the seven, what is it? It will come to me. There is 7 human needs. One of them is variety. This person, expressive, needs a sense of variety and spontaneity in their life. Weakness is they're impulsive. Sometimes they just think and act. They don't think and think before they truly act. They just think and go, right? Or sometimes they don't even think, they just go. Adopt a positive attitude, return their humor, be open and direct, agree with any action in specific terms that allow the ideas to storm. You guys, these are the people, if you've dealt with me before, I'm a lot of that expressive person. I like to have fun. I like to be who I am. And I like people to be able to have a good time and a good vibration when they're with me. That's an expressive person. Here's another worksheet for you guys, and feel free to take a picture of this. This really lists everything out from the analytical to the amiable, to the driver, and to the expressive. It breaks it down into different categories, how they receive information, their discomfort, their negative views, so on and so forth. That way you guys can start really preparing to have different type of conversations with different type of personalities to have different types of outcomes. We've all dealt with that ball buster before. I remember dealing with the guy from New Jersey 12 years ago, and I was working at the Hyatt. We were selling Concourse Day Elegance weeks for $30,000 for 1 week. And this guy was the biggest jerk. And I was just short, sweet, to the point. He told me, you know what? You're such a jerk. I'm going to buy 2 weeks. And he was like, that was like his flow. He's like, you're such a jerk. I'm like, all right, asshole, give me your credit card. And that was like the level that we got on, because he's just like, this guy's speaking my language. If I was like, tell me about your heart and your feelings and tell me about all this, I would have hit a wall with this guy. But I met him. Speech patterns were the same. You get it? Great. Move on. Cool. You want me to spend more time here? You want me to move on? I'm moving on. That was it. And I connected with him, and he spent over $70,000 with me in 90 minutes. So the point here is to be able to look at this, evaluate this, and understand who you are, how you best receive information, but be able to look at the people that are in front of you. You have the driver, results driven, they're decisive. Here's a quick example of what this looks like, and I'll have Judith put this all into a workbook for you guys. That way you guys have it. You'll be able to think about how you're going to approach every single scenario with all of your consumers. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to pause for a quick second because I told you I have to run this a little bit short today. Judith, if you can, please do this right now. Drop that worksheet down below. And I'll wait a second while Judith puts this in the chat down below. Name of the book, Social Styles Handbook. And Judith, go ahead and all right, cool. So you guys will see here what she did is she posted a social styles worksheet. So the goal for you guys this week is to do a little bit of work. And on this worksheet, and I'm going to pull this up in just a second, as you guys can see, boom. All right, here we go. On this worksheet, what you guys are going to find is you guys are going to find the different categories that we just spoke about. So what I want you to do is use this worksheet to identify your client's communication style and adjust your approach for better connection and results. You'll see the driver, the analytical, the amiable, and the expressive. Here's what I want you guys to do this week, 7-day challenge. I want you guys to understand which style is the easiest for you to recognize when people are communicating. That's the first step of this challenge. Part 2 is which style is the hardest for you to adjust to. Is it the driver? Is it the analytical type? Who is it? And then which ones can I practice this week to better connect with clients? Like, what can I do to practice this week? And then here's the 7-day challenge for you. I want you to identify the social style of each client you talk to this week. Write down how you adjusted your communication and bring one success story to next Friday. Can you guys do that for me? Can you guys do that for yourself? So I'm going to pause for a second because, like I said, I have to unfortunately keep today's session abbreviated, but I want to go to Vernon really quick. Vernon, we touched on this slightly yesterday. We're going to touch on this again next Friday, but Vernon, give me a thought and takeaway based on our short session today.
I think it's extremely powerful. You know, I've never done the personality test, so I'm going to do a few of them, actually. I find it very interesting. And, you know, it's super important in our line of work in terms of effectiveness and emotional intelligence in sales, Elias, which we just kind of briefly spoke to yesterday. First, understanding how we communicate, listen, and learn, but then also paying attention and creating those moments to listen, learn, and understand who we're dealing with on a human level and a personality level. That is the emotional intelligence skill in sales. And so I'm super excited that you broke it down this way in a very tangible, you know, consumable way in this as it relates to how we can position ourselves. By knowing ourselves, it's going to help us be more productive in our line of work. So good stuff, man.
So here's the goal for the week. Do the worksheet, either do the disc profile or the personality or the Myers-Briggs, whatever you guys do. I want you guys to do an assessment this week. I want you to do this worksheet, and then I want you to come back next week, and we're going to have a full conversation on Friday of what did you learn, how did you adjust, and what were the hardest patterns for you to adjust to based on the way that other people receive information. I promise you, if we dive into this and we start really doing this deep work, we're all going to grow. So I promise you guys that I'd give you something that was tangible. Do you feel that even though our session is abbreviated today, do you feel that you got something tangible? Please raise your hand, give me a thumbs up, give me an emoji on the screen. Cool. I'll see some of you guys a little bit later at 10 o'clock for our Zillow meeting. I'll see some of you guys in person here in my living room for Records and Real Estate. And then I will see you guys as always for our normally scheduled, but we're going to give this session 1 week for you guys to do the work. And then we're going to come back on Friday. We're going to unpack this and we're going to go even further on that. Sound good? All right, guys, I appreciate you. Yeah, it's the 12th, bro. Text me. Text me. All right, guys, have an amazing day. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. And make today a day that truly matters. Peace, you guys. Appreciate you.